Welcome to Pro Practice, your guide to piano mastery. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is based on the Paganini Étude No.5 in E major by Franz Liszt. This is based off of Paganini's Caprice No. 9. In parentheses, it says La Chasse, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I looked up how to pronounce that before I started this video. It translates to the hunt. So very pastoral. In parentheses, it also says imitando il flauto, so imitating the flute, and then a few bars later, imitating the French horn. So we see this beautiful little duet before our eyes here, or ears, I guess, starting out this piece. I'll go ahead and just play this intro. And then it goes into that. A few things. Some people will play this all with one hand, which is totally fine. You do whatever you want to do. I like dividing it between the hands. I feel like I have a little bit more control and also gives just a slight bit more energy. But you are going to be playing all of that in the right hand soon enough anyway. The thing that we want to think about is the contrast between that flute and then the French horn. And interesting, I know pretty much nothing about the violin. I've never played it. But the flute is playing off the A and E strings, and then the French horn is playing on the G and D strings. So even within that instrument, it's almost like it's a duet. So I found that interesting. I was listening to it right before I started recording this video. This is a little gem among the set of Paganini Etudes. I do not think this one is nearly as difficult as the others, but there are plenty of difficulties in this, so don't take it lightly and say, hey, this is an easy etude. But I don't think that it has the rigors of many of these other Paganini Etudes that we're going over in this series. I want to go over many things today, including fingering, how to distribute things between the hands, some creative redistributions, especially on those glissandos sections, how to get good hand crossings, how to navigate that effectively, and many other things to help you become more efficient in your practice sessions. These videos are meant to increase the practice efficiency, hopefully save all of you viewers time by showing you mistakes I've made and how I've corrected them, and fingering suggestions and various things to take to save you time in your practice sessions and show you a few things I've discovered along the way in my studies of this piece. So I haven't played this for that long, a few months now. I just gave a performance of it about a month ago for the first time of the set of Paganini Etudes. So I want to live with these for at least a few more months, probably well into this year. So let's get started. I would like to just give you some fingering. So 5-3, 4-2, and then I like to go to 4-2 in the left hand. And then right hand, 4-2, 3-1, 5-2. And then right hand, 4-1, 5-2. Left hand is 4-2. Right hand, 3-1, 4-2. Left hand, 4-2. Right hand, 3-1, 5-3. And some people will go 3-1, 5-2 because they like to switch that. That's totally fine as well. But I use 1-3, 5-3, 4-2, 5-3, 4-2, 5-2. Okay, and so on. And then this little ending, 4-2, 3-1, 5-2. You do what's most comfortable. As we'll see later on in this tutorial, with all of that quick jumping back and forth. Anytime you have hand crossings, I always like to put the hand that is more active in the more comfortable position because it has more going on, obviously. So with the left hand only playing 1 out of every 3 notes here, I'm going to put that in the slightly more awkward up position here, over position. So I'm going to let the right hand be under that, left hand will be up here. One thing that I would say right off the bat from an interpretation standpoint, don't be too vertical with this. I have heard recordings online, and I'm not going to name any names, but there are recordings where this can be quite dull, or some people just play it all loud, which I find very uninspiring. Daniel Trifonov, on the other hand, it's incredibly musical. He actually pedals through a lot of this. You can do whatever you like. I personally, because I've listened to the violin version and several other versions and kind of come up with what I like the best, I personally like a very intimate sound, but I don't use the pedal. Oh, I use the pedal, and then off pedal, like that. But I'm not pedaling throughout the whole thing, is what I was saying. I'm not going to connect everything. So I like short, short, long, short, short, long. And right there, the interpretation thing I wanted to go over is a little bit of variety here. Do you want this to be slightly more and then come back down? Or do you want to start out a little bigger and have this be an echo that will allow you to now regrow? I guess you could regrow either way you do that. And then remember that even when you have contrasting sections, like this first one is the flute, and he marks piano, and then this is probably going to be a bit more bold because it's French horn, and he also writes just a few bars later, piano, forte, piano. So you can really hear that duet element in here. But even within these sections of softer or louder, I would always challenge you, and this goes for any type of playing, I would always challenge you to make things interesting in your individual sections. So even if you're in Baroque music and they're talking about terraced dynamics, even within those terraces, I still like a little bit of variety. I never want my playing to be flat. So avoid just kind of doing that casually. And that still sounds piano. Okay, so that's an important thing to remember. Always have variety. The other thing that I want to talk briefly about before we move on to this section is making sure that you have brilliant tops. This section can get really uninspiring and flat sounding if you don't bring those tops out, or if your staccatos get lazy as well. So that sounds so boring and tired and lethargic, whereas and a simple little exercise, I've gone over this hundreds of times on my channel and in this course, a little voicing exercise is to practice forte and legato on top and staccato and piano on bottom. I learned that exercise when I was 9 years old, and it's never left me since. Maybe I was 10. I was playing this etude. This is my first Chopin etude. And my teacher had me go. So I still, to this day, there's many other ways of voicing effectively, and I've discussed those at length on my YouTube channel and in this course, but I think this is the best one. I like to take this pretty slowly, because all you really need is you need your hand to have, to develop that feel, to develop what that sensation of voicing is like, and then once you feel the extra weight going into that top note or the extra speed, it will come together. But you can do that exercise as many times as you want. If you don't feel that, it's not going to get better. The last thing I would say before we move on is feel free to experiment slightly with rubato. I wouldn't have this be really stretchy or anything, but see, I take a little time there because it feels like an end of a miniature phrase. So a little time, then time. And then I definitely take extra time there for that French horn entrance. I definitely take more time there. Because really here, it's written like that. So I'm definitely taking some liberty there. But I think because it's sectional, it works. So definitely like switching characters, switching timbres. So okay, and a lot of time there. And then rest.